And you might think, wait a second, I thought Doogie was the one bringing all the scoops to the Mackey and Judd show on Thursdays. But Judd Zolgad, you got a little Viking steam for us, perhaps, maybe?
Yeah, well, I've got a little bit of steam based on just some rumblings I've heard. They're very reckless, but that's
so these are rumblings, or is it steam?
I would say that these are I would say that they're rumblings because while I trust what I've heard,
Are they whispers? Are they whispers?
I also think that it's logical to connect the dots here. I'm connecting some dots, and I've heard some stuff. But I mean, this is so. If this is
speculation,
if this is a game of telephone, I'm like the fourth one.
Okay, so whatever you're about to tell us could be completely different than what the actual truth or the origin is.
A little bit, yes.
But this is Reckless Speculation Thursday,
exactly.
So we're just going to go with it.
We're worried. I consider ourselves to be sports detectives. And if you're a sports detective, like, the case is not always presented. Like, the killer does not come and say, I confess.
You got to smoke them out.
Sometimes you got to smoke them out. Sometimes you have to run a long investigation. Sometimes you have to go to Egan day after day to TCO Performance Center, the scene of the crime. And you have to go and you have to talk to people and you have to do interviews. Good cop, bad cop. Okay.
So you're telling me the beginning of this game of telephone is something to do with like personnel, and the end is someone got murdered at TCO Performance Center. It's what it sounds like.
Reckless speculation.
You know what? Interpret it any way that you want, Phil Mackey. Interpret it any way that you want. But I want to talk contract extensions because we are in that very Viking sweet spot as opening day approaches. It was the Saturday before the opener last year that Dalvin Cook got his contract. Going way back when, it was the Saturday before the Sunday opener against the Chargers in San Diego at the time that Adrian Peterson got his contract. So it makes sense in connecting the dots that although we don't have a contract announcement on Brian O'Neill or Harrison Smith yet, that one of those guys is likely to get done contractually right before the season starts. Okay, and I want to present the evidence of the rumblings that I've heard to you as far as who might get done first, because I don't think both of them do before the Cincinnati game. All right. Exhibit A. Let's start there. Going through the crime scene. Exhibit A is Harrison Smith's contract. Now, the rumbling that I've heard is that and Dukes confirmed this going way back, while there have been plenty of talks between the Smith camp, and keep in mind he's in the last year of his contract with no guaranteed money left, so it behooves him to get a new contract, that there might have been a fly in the ointment when, and this is where it gets a little bit difficult if you're both sides, to be honest with you. Jamal Adams of the Seahawks recently became the highest paid safety in the league. 4 years, $70 million, $38 million guaranteed. Now, that contract term-wise is not what Smith is going to get, because here's the big sticking point. Jamal Adams is 25 years old. So he's like right smack dab in his prime. Harrison Smith, who's very good, is 32 years old. So I think what they're probably working off of, Phil, is the financial figure and how to get that right for Smith, because I don't think there's any way a 32-year-old safety gets 4 years.
I don't even know how. So real quick here, is the insinuation, is the game of telephone, are you saying that they may have had some framework or discussions that were talking about one type of contract, let's say a month ago or 6 months ago, and when Jamal Adams signed his extension for $17 million a year average annual value, and by the way, Harrison Smith's current contract pays him $10 million a year,
yes, and
he is outside the top 10 highest paid safeties in terms of average annual value, that the goalposts have moved a little bit here.
Yes.
But this is the thing, like, I think Harrison's a Hall of he's for sure a Ring of Honor Vikings Hall of Famer. He might be a Pro Football Hall of Famer before it's all said and done. I think, like, if the Vikings were to somehow win a Super Bowl before the end of his career, I think it would stamp and solidify him as a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But he's 32, like you said, going to be 33. I want to say I can't remember when his birthday is. I don't know how you can compare to Jamal Adams in his physical prime. I get that, like, maybe that raises the bar for, maybe it's an extra couple $1 million.
Correct. Right.
But yeah, I mean, I get it. It is a little puzzling as to why him, and I know we're going to get to somebody else here too, why they haven't signed contract extensions yet. So how much hardball would you play if you're the Vikings? Like, so Harrison Smith has no more guaranteed money left at all beyond 2021. So you could just if you wanted to, you could just say, well, it's been an amazing 10, 11-year run, but you're just in your mid-30s now, and we're not gonna commit that much money to someone in their mid-30s. How willing would you be if you're the Vikings to just play hardball and walk after 2021? I don't know that I'm ready to do that with him yet, but I'm also not ready to overpay a 33-year-old.
I think
it's a tough situation.
This depends to. This is difficult because and we don't know this. It comes down to term. So what, like, if they're like, okay, let's do a 2-year extension and let's make it fair, I'd probably say, yeah, that's cool. If they're saying, hey, Jamal Adams got 4, Harrison's got at least 3 good years left, let's go 3 or 4. I struggle with that big time because there is a cliff. Now it's safety, so it's not the same cliff as cornerback, which is what I'm sure his camp is arguing, but there still is a potential cliff here. The other problem too, Phil, is if you go short term, that of course, as we know with Kirk's contract, is accelerated immediately on your cap. Like you can't hide cap charges in year 4 or 5 if there's no year 4 or 5. So I think you put it perfectly. I think the Jamal Adams contract moved the goalposts, and now it comes down to, do you want to stay here and do what's best for the team? And obviously, the Vikings, and they should value him, or do you want to go after, because you're still good, really good potentially, one more big payday? And if the answer is no, you know what, one more big payday, I could make a case that you can't afford to keep him. And that's no slam against him. That does not mean he's not very, very good still. I think he is. But right now, you can't assume Kirk Cousins' cap hit is coming off your books for 2022. You can try and get towards that point. But like, if you're like, oh, we'll get rid of that contract. Okay, there's going to be ramifications towards that. So if this is another potential short-term deal and Harrison Smith's like, I'm getting paid too, this comes back to our long-standing conversation, which is Rob Brzezinski's great at what he does, but even a guy like Brzezinski at some point in time reaches a point where he probably says, guys, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, and by the way, this is the last year of Harrison's contract, so he had no guaranteed money left going into this year, but now there's no 2022 year period. He's just
Correct.
A straight up free agent after 2021.
Correct.
And honestly, if you're Harrison Smith, I think you, at this point, I don't want to speak for him, but wouldn't you want to finish your career as a Viking? Or maybe, like, what's more important, I guess? Maybe I'm answering my own question. Finishing your career as a Viking or winning a Super Bowl? If he thought, hey, I can hit free agency after 2021, I can also decide to re-sign with the Vikings.
Right.
And I'd like to see
Right.
where they're at. Who's the quarterback going to be? Who's the head coach going to be? Like, if I'm Harrison, I would be a little hesitant too. Wait, if you're going to fire Zimmer, and I love Zimmer, and I don't know who my quarterback's going to be on the other side of the ball, would like to see if Patrick Peterson has a couple more years left in the tank. I might want to reevaluate from my side too. And then at the end of it, maybe you say, all right, well, God, we tried hard in 2021. Things just didn't work out. If they do, great. But if they don't, I'm going to go play for the Chiefs, or
Right.
I'm going to go play for, the Bills or whatever. Name your 2022 Super Bowl contender.
Exactly.
I could see that happening, but I think I speak for all Vikings fans. It'd be nice to see him retire as a Viking.
Reckless speculation.
So here's the second one. And I think that if I was to put odds on a contract getting done September 11th before the opener on the 12th, this would be the one. It wouldn't be Harrison Smith. Brian O'Neill. But again, to use your term, Phil, the goalposts have moved. He is a right tackle, which is more valuable than it's ever been. It's not a left tackle payday, but it's still significant. And let me give you the two players that moved the goalposts. And I don't think O'Neal gets this contract, but it definitely, I think probably for his agents, shoots up their ask from the Vikings for him. The Saints recently paid 27-year-old Ryan Ramczyk a valued contract of $96 million, which averages $9.2 million per year and guarantees $60 million. That is now ahead of Lane Johnson of the Eagles as the top right tackle contract in the league.
Yeah. He makes more than a lot of quarterbacks.
Exactly right. The other one, and this is the third highest paid right tackle contract in the league that I believe recently got done with the Indianapolis Colts, was 25-year-old Braden Smith. $70 million, averages $17.5 million per season, $42 million guaranteed. Those are the two contracts, and I think this gets done because O'Neal's young. I'm not completely convinced that at some point in time he doesn't end up at left tackle, depending on what happens with Darisaw. Like, I don't think that's going to happen now. I would have explored it.
Yeah.
But my point being is, if I had to handicap this one and say between Harrison Smith and Brian O'Neal, one of these two is going to get a contract right before the season starts. As expensive as that is, I think it's O'Neal, on part based on term. Because again, if you go, and with him, you'd feel safe. If you go long term, now you can start to shift the cap hits around. And with a player in his first contract, and the one thing to keep in mind, Brian O'Neal, because he was he a second round pick or third round pick? I think
second round pick. Second round pick.
He has a 4-year contract, no 5th-year option. So he needs to get done as well. But that would be the one that I think Brzezinski, if you call it working his magic contractually, the O'Neal contract's the one I think he could work his magic on, and it would make sense to keep this guy long term.
So here's what's going to happen. All right, Football Whisperer.
Reckless speculation.
I should have put this on the write that down record here. Can I get a write that down prediction here a day late?
Yeah, I'll make an
guys care?
executive decision there.
So before the ball snaps for the Vikings, week 1,
okay,
Brian O'Neal will agree to a multi-year contract extension that slots him in. I mean, I don't know how to. I was going to say slightly behind. I'll just say behind Ryan Ramczyk and Braden Smith in terms of average annual value.
Okay.
And off the record, I think it'll be slightly behind. So Ryan Ramczyk, $19 million a year average annual value. He's last year, according to Pro Football Focus, he was the 5th best right tackle in the NFL. But because he's about to be a free agent, they're locking him up. He becomes the top paid. It's like every time like Matthew Stafford became the top paid quarterback in the NFL like 5 years ago. Not because he was the best, but because it was his time to hit the market.
Right.
Braden Smith is the 3rd highest paid right tackle now at $17.5 million a year. He was graded as the 6th best right tackle in the NFL, according to PFF. Brian O'Neal was the 10th best right tackle, which is good. Like, he's an above average right tackle, which that's good enough. That's what they need, especially with other below average or question mark players along the offensive line. So I think the case to be made there by the Vikings is, we'll pay you. We definitely want you around for like 5 more years. We need you around for 5 more years. You're not quite Ramczyk. You're not quite Braden Smith. You're really good. So we're going to give you almost Braden Smith and Ryan Ramczyk money. That's my prediction.
Just so I'm sure, before week 1, Brian O'Neal will agree to a contract extension that slots him behind Ryan Ramczyk, $19 million AAV, and Braden Smith, $17.5 AAV.
Yes. So the AAV is what we're looking at here.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
However, it's characterized
I like
by
it, Whisper.
these websites.
Yep.
So
I think that's
the
Put
football.
that-
a good chance I have.
Reckless speculation.
There's actually a huge gap, so I'm fascinated by these contracts. There's only 5 right tackles that make more than $10 million a year. Ryan Ramczyk, Lane Johnson, Braden Smith, is it pronounced Taylor Moton from the Panthers, and then Jack Conklin with the Browns. All make $14 million or more. So I think O'Neal's going to want to be in that group.
Yes, he will.
He's going to want to be one of the top 5 paid right tackles. And if you're the Vikings, you have to do it. And if it was between, like, you can only retain one of those guys going forward, Harrison Smith or Brian O'Neal, it sucks, but like, you'd have to say goodbye to Harrison Smith because you need that anchor in his. O'Neal's in his prime, and he's a really good player. So.
The one thing that I'm sure Spielman has gone to the Smith camp about is, okay, he can play this out, but at his age, if he gets hurt, he's going to take a huge hit there. So, like, with no guarantees left, and at the age of 32, going into the last year of your contract, do you want to chance it? Because I'm sure the Vikings would pay him what we would consider to be handsomely, but I don't see how a guy who was as good as Smith, but is now 32, Jamal Adams, it's great he got paid, but he's 25. 7 years in the National Football League is like, what, 60 dog years or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not even, it's not close. Like, it's not, well, he's only 7 years old. No, that's really old compared to 25.
Yeah. So look at you. So sort of Vikings steam, whispers, connecting the dots.
Well, part of it makes
nuggets.
Part of it just makes sense. Part of it is that they want to get one of these done in the next 2+ weeks. I have heard that the Smith camp saw the Adams contract and said, "Whoa, hold on a second here." And the Vikings, rightfully so, probably said, "No, let's not hold on. We've been talking in good faith." And again, the age discrepancy there makes a world of difference. And Harrison Smith might be very smart to take one more really good chunk of guaranteed cash. And then if he gets hurt in 2021, guess what? He still gets that chunk of guaranteed cash.
Also, like, what a fascinating world that we can't comprehend as just normal people when they're probably haggling over like $2 million. Like is he going to make 9 or 12? Like, right. It's an amount of money that has zero bearing on Harrison Smith's lifestyle or family.
So here's the catch that makes this intriguing to me. So one is, I'm guessing the athletes aren't involved yet. Like, Smith could come in and be like, "I'll sign it. Like, I want to be there." To your point, Phil, I'd like to end my career here. I love the coach. It's been great.
Yeah.
But I think when we talk about this, the dynamic we leave out is the percentage the agent gets. And so that extra $2 million.
The agent's like, "I need an extra $100,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those folks are like, "Hold on a second. What you don't get is if I get $2 million more, I get a lot more in my pocket."
Yeah. I was I don't want to unveil too much information here, but I was talking to a sports media agent on behalf of we're bringing on some contributors, hopefully, fingers crossed, for the 2021 season.
Cook, right?
I was talking Bus Cook. But like media agents, and one of them just locked up a huge industry deal. And so we get on the phone to talk about this other client of his, right? And I said, "Hey man, congrats on that other deal." And he was like he beamed for 5 minutes, like, oh my God, thank you, man. Yeah, like it was like you could just tell like his next 5 years were just made as an agent because of this other big deal that he signed, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're onto something there. Like, Harrison Smith probably doesn't care. He's not going to be mad if like they short him $2 million. I mean, there's a respect factor at this point in his career,
right?
But it's probably like the agent is negotiating still, and we'll see what happens, I guess.
Reckless speculation.
All right, so reckless speculation Thursday. Judd Zulgad bringing the nuggets.
I cleaned out the notebook right there. Hold on a second here. I got to close it up. You see?
There it is.
Is this a reporter's
beat
pad?
writer? That's a pocket pad.
Or a detective's pad? That's the question.
Could be either or. You don't know.
Detective making his way around town.
So also every Thursday on the show, Declan goes back into the social media archives and exposes us for the frauds that we are. It's called Old Tweets Exposed. And today it's powered by Dennis Kirk and DennisKirk.com. 160,000 parts and accessories for you folks who like to ride. And if you order by 8 p.m., they ship the same day. When the open road calls, head to DennisKirk.com. All right, hit us with it. What do you got, Declan?
Well, we're talking a little Twins Yankees earlier this week. That great rivalry, dominance, I should say, that has been the Twins and Yankees over the last, 18, 19 years.
Oh, my God.
We're going to start with Phil. And this is actually not an old...
my internet is breaking.
It's glitching. No, look at that. Mackey has left the screen. He's now gone. We're actually going to go with a old video. And this is...
dude. Oh, this is going to be ugly. This is going to be a bloodbath.
This is Phil.
Phil wins.
live from Times Square.
Hey guys, it's Phil Mackey here. After the show, live from New York City, hanging out in Times Square. And I came here specifically to make one prediction about the Minnesota Twins. I know they've gotten smoked by the Yankees in 2003, 04, 2009, 10, 17, last year. They always get smoked by the Yankees. But I came all the way to New York City in Times Square to make this prediction. This is the year, finally, that the Twins beat the Yankees in the postseason. In fact, write this down. The Twins will clinch a playoff series against the Yankees right here in New York. And I'm going to tag Old Takes Exposed just to make sure if this is wrong, you can rub it back in my face. All right, get it done, Twins.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God.
Okay, in fairness,
No.
they never had it. They never had the chance. They played the Astros. That was February. That was right before the pandemic, by the way. That was like a week before New York City got shut down. I probably had COVID. I shook hands with everyone in New York City a week before the pandemic. They never played the Yankees in the playoffs last year. They played the Astros, right?
Yeah.
Never had a chance.
Okay.
I'm just going to
I'll
the show off.
I'll show myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh my God.
We'll go to me next. Because I also have a
I feel like you guys
Yankees
are.
comment.
This is the consolation matchup between
Yeah,
you guys.
Yeah. This is the Saturday afternoon.
This is for filling. We
Class
fill the
A
time
state
here.
Hockey consolation. game
Yes.
at Mariucci.
All right.
God.
September 27th, 2020, just a little less than a year ago. So if the Twins and Yankees end up meeting in the ALCS, are you sheep going to be just bummed out?
What
or are you
happened
going to
here?
embrace
What?
slaying the
Dude.
dragon?
Oh my
God,
God.
I am juiced in all caps for postseason baseball.
Oh my
Okay,
God,
all right.
What's wrong with you two?
I gotta say, man, like I think I still win because I was literally in Times Square doing this.
Yeah, on video.
But you went caps lock on embrace slaying the dragon and did the word juiced.
Well, and sheep.
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 A lot
You're
to take
calling
away.
people sheep here. Just it's condescending, Declan. It's
Unbelievable.
Couple. Yeah, that's actually
Okay.
655. I don't think I'm a couple Celsius.
where did with my video and your tweet here, where did this false bravado come from? Like the Twins literally get pounded every time they face the Yankees in the playoffs. And you
Why
and I
was
are
it-
like, no, man, bring it on.
And why
Come
was
on,
it-
one more?
Why was it last year? Like I would have almost
So-
understood this in 19.
I think I can explain the timeline. So, 2019 they get bounced by the Yankees in 3. They signed Josh Donaldson in January.
Yeah.
Phil is then in New York shortly thereafterwards. Then all high up on the Josh Donaldson, all high up on his Barrett Sports Media, feeling it in Times Square. So he's got a little pep in his step. The 2020 season happens. We're wrapping up that great short pandemic season, and it looks like the Twins were going to play the Yankees before the last week of the season. It was lining up like that. And that's where I was probably all in on wanting to slay, quote unquote, the dragon. and
Also,
being
in fairness,
juiced.
if Buxton and Donaldson had been healthy, all right, and they had played the Yankees, they totally would have slayed them. Totally would have slayed them. Okay, I'll show myself out again.
One last one from Judd. Not necessarily a Twins Yankees one, but a Twins comment nonetheless from 2019. Maybe more impressive than the power the Twins have shown for much of this season is the, quote, resilience of this club. That's
They were
become
great
the
in
story
19.
of 2019
Do
to
you remember
me.
the comebacks?
11
much
o'clock,
resilience.
June 21st.
They
What
were
a resilient club.
They were super resilient that season.
That was one of the
I
most
don't even
resilient
compare-
clubs
I'm
in
not even-
baseball history,
I'm not
really.
even in the conversation on this old tweets, old videos.
No, you're not, but let's not brush away the fact that you think this team that just got absolutely rickrolled in the playoffs in
Hey,
2019
At
is
least I was saying
resilient.
it in 19. I got sucked in 19. You two suckers got sucked in 2020 when the Yankees had disposed of them again in 3 games the year before.
Actually, have you ever, Judd, has anyone ever rickrolled you? where they send you a link. Hey, you should check out this article, and you click, and it's a Rick Astley music video. Never gonna give you up.
Maybe.
Never gonna
Yeah, I
give you
don't
up. That's
remember, but
like
I'm
the
guessing
twins. The twins in the playoffs
Rickroll.
for the last 20 years is just a long-running Rickroll. It's like, all right, hey, check out this Twins and Astros. Let's get pumped, and you click on it. It's like, never gonna give you up. It's just a troll. The Twins in the playoffs is a troll.
All
Resilient.
I know is last night we came back in extras after column A melted down, and by the time the game was done on BSN, I thought everything was fine.
Well, and you guys have,
everything was great.
I mean, and I feel like you guys owe the audience an apology. You have sat here and savaged Jake Cave all season on this show. I, for one, never lost faith in
Who needs
Jake
Lamont
Cave,
Wade
and he
Jr.?
hit that bomb last night, the cushion that they needed.
No, it was huge. Without that, it's a tie game. I mean, yeah, come on.
Epic.
Jake Cave.
And Alex Colomé,
His
a little bit
skyrocketing
of some
again.
wind blowing out. I feel like that was a can of corn. It was really gusty last night in Boston.
Kyle
so you
Schwarber
can
with a great
forgive him for
bat
that.
toss.
It was.
He hit that ball. He's like, yep.
I will say too, Miguel Sano hit the longest home run of the season last night. That was a ridiculous bomb.
Not his longest home run though.
You're saying?
Yeah, since StatCast started in 2015, he had a 496, I think, against the White Sox.
Yeah.
And this was 495. It was a shot.
I would send that video to every general manager in baseball and ask for their best offer as soon as the season's over.
Yep, it keeps up though the comp I think that you made a long time ago, and he's probably not this good. Adam Dunn.
Yeah.
It's Dave Kingman, Adam Dunn. I mean, those guys. Look, the home runs are fun. I'm not gonna lie.
No, sure. For sure.
It's sort of
Rob
like a
Deere.
relationship, which has benefits, and then you can't stand the person the rest of the time.
Yep.
You fight like 80% of the
You fight,
time.
but when you're not fighting, it's fun.
it's great, yeah.
It's a 496-foot home run, 495 maybe.
I do want to mention that you guys are going to be hanging out with Mackey and Judd and Purple Daily listeners in the Gophers Miami of Ohio, in a suite for Gophers Miami of Ohio, September 11th. If you guys want to come, cheers a couple drinks with Judd and Dex, and get a pair of Chill Boys or two, the most comfortable underwear ever,
Got 'em on right
you
now.
can register to hang out on the Score North app. Just open the Score North app. It's free, and go to the reward section, and you can
Where's the
hang
Rouser?
out with these two knuckleheads.
Where's the rouser? How can you do that without the rouser?
Sorry, I was on the Old Tweets Exposed page.
There we go.
Let's get
Get
it.
on the high. Sports Sun, Sports Dad.
Get
We'll
some
bring a
chill boys
big
and some
cutout of
seltzers,
Phil.
and we'll enjoy some Gopher football. And Tanner Morgan's going to slay Miami, Ohio, and take
Wow.
the Big Ten West.
Wow, dude. Look
Very
at this
good.
Look at that,
guy
huh?
right here.
Very good.
Go
Pretty good.
Huskies. Let's go.
Three-
Yeah.
My prediction: 3 seltzers in. Declan will announce. I really don't care about the Gophers. Let's talk about St. Cloud State.
Yeah, and then they'll throw him over the balcony into
Yeah.
the lower section.
Into the
and that'll be
pit.
the end of Declan. All right, that's a wrap. I'm Mackey and Judd. Daily Minnesota sports entertainment. We just want championships. That's all we really want around here. We're raising the bar, raising expectations. We'll see you guys over on Purple Daily.